Most people eat meat and eggs. I do. I love them both. But I bet you if you ask most folks the difference between broilers and layers, they're not gonna know. In this video, I'll help explain the difference between broilers and layers. And I'll also answer some frequently asked questions about these two, like which one is more profitable? What is the cost to raise them? Which one is more suitable for a startup poultry farmer? At the end of the video, I'll explain why we decide to start with broilers and not layers. I'll also help debunk the myth around can broilers actually lay eggs. So stick around. Welcome back. My name is Kelvin. I'm a software engineer based in the United States and extremely passionate about poultry farming. This is a channel where we get to share the knowledge based on our own personal experience raising both broilers and layers back in my home country, Cameroon, while living in the diaspora. If you're new to the channel, consider hitting the subscribe button and smash that notification bell so that you don't miss any new videos. Don't forget to like the video and share your thoughts in comments below. So, what are broilers and layers? Broilers are chicken or bird that are raised for meat, while layers are those birds that are raised purposely for egg production. Broilers, they within a short period of time, they are genetically modified such that within a short period of time, they will gain a lot of weight. We're talking about just 6 weeks, they will gain so much weight within just a short period of time. That is because their food, their feed is primarily made of a lot of proteins, so that they can actually add a lot of weight within a short period of time from 0 to 6 weeks. While on the other hand, layers tend to take a longer period of time to grow, like between about 20 weeks for them to be able to get to maturity where they can actually start laying eggs. There are different types of broilers as well as different types of layers. I'm not going to name, there are so many types of them, but I'm going to just name you a few. You have the Cup 500, Ross 308, Abo Acre, Marshall. And there, again, as I said, there are so many different types of broilers. But I'm going to just give you the difference between COP 500 and Ross 308. COP 500 tend to grow exponentially after 6 weeks, while Ross 308 tend to grow, their feed conversion rate are high from 0 all the way to 6 weeks. If you are the type of farmer that you generally sell your birds wholesale to wholesalers, we will recommend actually going with Ross 500 because between 0 to 6 weeks, they their feed conversion rate is extremely high. They tend to actually add a lot more weight within that time. Why Cup 500 within 0 to 6 weeks, you can have about 1.5 kilogram, but after that, their feed conversion rate is higher after 6 weeks. So that's primarily the main difference. And the reason why I stick with Cup 500 and Ross 308 is because in most tropical countries, you mostly find the Ross 308 and Cup 500. You also find the Marshall, you also find the Abo Acre. The, there are other types of layers as well. You have the Isa Brown cockerel, you have the white and black cockerel, the Coriolas, as well as the Ross. So there are many more, there are many different types of broilers and layers. Broilers are genetically modified for meat production, while layers are just for egg production. Now, let's talk about the growth rate. As I mentioned earlier, broilers have a high feed conversion rate. They have a higher feed conversion rate than layers. As a result of that, they are able to grow faster than layers. So within 0 to 6 weeks, they can actually get to maturity, and you can start selling them between 0 to 6 weeks. On an average, layers get to maturity at 20 weeks. Sometimes from 18 weeks, you can start getting some eggs from your layers, but generally 20 weeks is the standard that you start getting the eggs from the layers. What about their lifespan? Layers tend to have a lifespan between 7 to 9 weeks, Can they go past 9 weeks? Yes. However, after 9 weeks, they start developing leg problems and sudden heart attack, and that can lead to sudden death from heart attack. So you don't want to keep them past 9 weeks. You generally want to leave them in your farm between 7 to 9 weeks. After 9 weeks, you want to make sure that you either process them and sell them as frozen chicken, or you can smoke them. Like in our own case, we actually sell it. We package them as frozen chicken, or we sell them as smoked chicken. That pretty much. We do not let them past 9 weeks. On the other hand, layers have a longer lifespan. They can go all the way up to 72 weeks. They can go to 72 weeks, but they hit maturity at 20 weeks. Sometimes you can actually they can start laying eggs at 18 weeks, but generally the standard is 20 weeks, but layers can actually go past 72 weeks. Broilers are You can have male and female broilers, but only female layers. You don't have male layers, only female layers you can have. Let me repeat that. You can have male and female broilers, but only female layers. At the end of the day, only the females lay egg. So the layers are only females, while broilers are both male and female. What's the cost to start broilers and layers? That's an easy question. It's more expensive to actually start layers to broilers. To start broilers, you don't need that many equipments as compared to layers, right? Generally, broilers are raised using the deep litter system, while layers can either use the deep litter system or the cage system. There are also some type of cage systems for broilers, like they call them the H type system that they use for broilers. Layers are generally more expensive. I'm not saying that you have to start with battery cages. Still, even if you are starting with the deep litter system, there are other equipments that you need to buy to be able to start a layer, like the egg laying boxes and stuff like that. I mean, you can manufacture them. Even the cost to manufacture those egg laying boxes adds to your cost of production. So, and also because because of the time frame that is going to take for you to start getting the return on your investment, that's 20 weeks, because it takes about 20 weeks for them to start laying eggs. As a result of that, you're going to have a lot of feed that you have to be feeding these birds. You're going to be feeding them for 20 weeks without actually getting any money back. In addition, you have to be vaccinating them during those periods without actually getting any money back. So to be able to prevent any disease. So you're talking about spending a lot of money upfront to make a lot more money in the long run. So with layers, you put in a lot more money upfront to make a lot more money in the long run. However, with broilers, it's completely different. With broilers, 6 weeks, you start getting the return on your investment. Now let's talk about marketing. With broilers, marketing is different. The minute the day old chick arrive at your farm, you want to start marketing. I think I made an earlier video that was talking about the way you market them. You want to go ahead and post it on your social media site. You want to go ahead and distribute those flyers. You want to go ahead and talk to all those wholesalers that they come and buy everything in bulk. In Cameroon, we call them buy and sell. You want to go ahead and get those. You want to go ahead and inform them. Let them be ready before they get to maturity. You do not want to wait when until when they get to maturity before you actually start marketing them. Or because a day after they hit maturity, those birds are going to be eaten. And every single dime you're spending on feed is cutting into your profit. Once they pass 8 weeks, you want to go ahead and package, because the minute they pass 8 weeks, you are actually in trouble, because most of your profit is gone. So you want to go ahead and sell once they hit 8 weeks. However, with layers is different. You have up to 30 days that you can actually store your eggs while looking for those customers. So you want to put them in a cool room, in a colder environment. They will last longer than in a warm environment. Generally, eggs usually sell themselves because the demand is higher compared to chicken. The demand for chicken is lower than the demand for eggs. The price is mostly determined by the market when it comes to the eggs. But generally, Eggs will sell themselves. The demand is higher. The demand for eggs is higher than the demand for chicken. What about the return on investment? Well, with broilers, you get within 6 weeks, you are able to reap the return on your investment. 6 weeks, you're able to reap the return on your investment within 6 weeks, compared to layers where it would take you 20 weeks. Again, as I said, some of them will start laying as from 18 weeks, but you're not going to actually get um, any good quantity from 18 weeks. You generally start getting them after 20 weeks, and you get to about 90% production rate at 24 weeks. 24 weeks is where you actually get to about 90% production rate. But generally, the return on your investment in broilers is usually faster. So if you're the type of person that you're looking for something that like a quick turnover, right? You just put in your money, you put in you have $1,000 or $500. You just invest in your $500, and within 6 weeks, you're able to get your return on your investment. It's not going to be as much, but within a short period of time, you'll be able to get your return on investment. Why layers? You have to wait for about 20 weeks for you to actually start getting the return on your investment. Now let's talk about the housing and equipment. I mean, one thing I would stress about broilers do not like heat. So you want the building one. You want to leave a lot of space between the buildings when you are doing broilers, right? And also aeration, the roofing as well as the walls. You want to make sure that the walls are completely the air is able to go through easily. Tomorrow, I will upload a video that actually show you our own broiler house, so you actually see that particular video. So just hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that once I upload that video, you'll be able to see the broiler house. But yes, the broiler house, you want to make sure that the roof as well as the walls have enough aeration. Layers also, you want aeration. Definitely, you want aeration. You want to go ahead and do aeration, but with layers, they are not too prone to heat like the broilers. Now, for broilers, the equipments, you don't need that many equipments for broilers compared to layers. As I told you, with layers, if you're doing barrel cages, and I would recommend anybody, if you have the funds, go with barrel cages. You want to get a higher return on your investment, I would recommend going with the layer with the barrel cages. But if you're somebody that you say, okay, you know what, for sentimental reasons, and I respect that. I respect that. For sentimental reasons, you rather prefer to go with barricade with deep litter system for layers. Be my guest. Go with deep litter system. However, a 500 square meters building can take about 10,000 birds if you use the A type barricade. Why? If you want to do it the deep litter system, the maximum you can actually put in that particular 500 square meter building is 4,000 birds. Maximum is 4,000 birds. So you want to consider that when you're dealing with layers. With deep litter system, the return on your investment is not as much as the barricade system. Barricade system in general will make you more money, will get you a higher return on your investment than deep litter system. So just always understand that if you want more profit, go with barricades. If you want to be sentimental about it, go with deep litter system. Now, what about the risks to raise broilers versus layers? Well, let me answer that. It's a lot more risky to raise layers compared to broilers. This is one of the reasons why. Because you get to keep these birds in your farm for 20 weeks before you start getting eggs from them. Because of the length of time that it takes for you to start making money from these birds, it also lengthens the time for them to catch some of these diseases, like the Newcastle disease. So within 6 weeks, your broilers are already ready. You're done. You move on to the next. However, also let's look at it from another perspective in terms of risks. Even if you go ahead and raise these birds for just 6 weeks, or let's just say after 4 weeks of raising this particular bird, a Newcastle disease hit or a particular disease hit the broiler farm, guess what? It wipes it out. You can really just restart within a short period of time because you've been feeding them for just 4 weeks. But think about feeding your layers for 18 weeks or for 16 weeks and then it hits the farm. Imagine the amount of money you've spent to actually raise those birds to up to 16 or 18 weeks before Newcastle disease actually hits and wipe out the whole entire farm. So the amount of money that you're going to lose from layers, it's a lot more compared to broilers. That's why it's a lot more risky to raise layers over broilers. So take that into consideration when starting your own poultry farm. Now, the biggest question that I get is which one is more profitable, right? Again, let me get that out of the way. In the long run, layers are more profitable, but not as much as people exaggerate it. By the time the layers get to maturity, you probably already have about 14 batch sold already in the market and making money. Why you keep selling them when the layers are producing the eggs? Now, once the layers start producing the eggs, you'll be making a lot more money. Let's just say, for example, you have a 1,000 capacity farm for your broilers and a 1,000 capacity farm for your layers. You'll be making a lot more money from layers for 2 years because within 2 years they will have a 90% egg laying rate, almost an average of an egg a day for 2 years. But after 2 years, the egg laying rate actually reduces. This is where layers become more profitable, right? After the egg production rate drops below 60%, guess what? You are able to sell those birds. The price is definitely not as high as the price for broilers because most of those birds, they don't have that much flesh. They're skinny. They don't have that much flesh. So most you always have specific buyers of layers. You don't have that much market for layers. You have a lot more market for broilers as meat compared to layers as meat. So, but you still find market for layers. And once you sell those birds, it adds to your profit. So the layers, after they are done laying eggs, you are able to sell them and add to your profit margin. And that is the point in time where the profit for layers now beats the profit for broilers. The biggest myth of all: can broilers lay eggs? Yes, broilers can actually lay eggs. However, it's very difficult for them to grow to that age where they can actually lay eggs. But if you're able to keep them to the age where they can lay eggs, yes, broilers will be able to lay eggs for you. It is possible. However, since they only get to 9 weeks, and after 9 weeks, they start developing a lot of complications, like as I mentioned before, leg problems and sudden heart problems and stuff like that. They never get to the stage where they can lay eggs. But if you're able to keep broilers for a long period of time, they will start laying eggs for you. So yes, broilers can lay eggs. It's a myth. Most people will say, no, 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 broilers can never lay eggs. No, it's just that it's very difficult to keep them to get to that stage where they can actually lay. But if you can do that, they will lay eggs for you. So, which one should you keep? Broilers or layers? This is what I would say. It all depends on you. Depend on how much startup capital you have. If you have a lot more startup capital, I would recommend going with layers. But if you don't have that much startup capital, and also you do not have that much experience, because layers, you need a lot of experience. You need experts. You need people that have gone through veterinary school and stuff like that and know about vaccination and all those things. You need experts to actually raise layers as compared to broilers that you don't. Yes, I mean, you need experts in broilers, but not as much as layers. So if you have you have enough money to actually hire the right uh, employees to help you in your farm, in your poultry farm, go with layers. You have enough money to actually feed these fowls for 20 weeks before you actually start making some money. Go with layers. However, if you don't have that much money, you have money that you can only feed for 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 10 weeks, go with broilers. Start with broilers, raise some money, and then move into layers. But just always understand that whatever you choose to start with all depend on one, how much capital you have, two, how much expertise do you have? Do you have enough knowledge to be able to handle broilers or layers? Again, as I said, layers are more risky for you to actually handle. If you don't have a proper biosecurity implementation in your farm, you can actually get a lot more losses from layers compared to broilers. You need to put all that into consideration. One other thing you want to think about also is refrigeration. With broilers, after they hit maturity, you want to go ahead and sell them. If you cannot sell them past 8 weeks, I always recommend 8 weeks. Once they hit 8 weeks, start thinking about processing them, put them in refrigerators, package them, and put them in refrigerators, and go put in and take them to supermarkets where you can sell them, or you can open your own storefront. Now, the big question of the day: why did other farms start with broilers and not layers? I did not feel like I had enough expertise on the ground to actually go ahead and start with broilers, because the problem was not the finance. I was able to raise money that I could start with either broilers or layers. I decided to go with broilers because the most folks back in Cameroon, they do poultry farming at a small scale. Most of them, they do poultry farming at a small scale. We're talking about 300, 400, maximum 500. Most of them, they do it at a small scale. They don't do it at a large scale. And the workers that I got, that I could trust to work with, that I knew they were dedicated to the craft that I was bringing to the table, those workers did not have that much experience doing commercial poultry farming. So as a result, I decided to start small with broilers, let them learn from the process, and then move into layers. So that's it. That's our 2 cents, the difference between broilers and layers, based again on our experience. Whatever we tell you in this channel, it's all based on our experience. You're going to be learning a lot from this channel. So as a result, I will really encourage everyone, if any of the information that I've shared today is of any value to you, please consider hitting the subscribe button, smashing that notification bell, so that whenever I upload the next series of video, you're going to learn a lot. Again, this, I call it the Poultry Farm University. All you need to do is just smash the subscribe button and hit the notification bell, so that once I upload the next series of videos, you're going to actually get the notification. So as usual, thank you so much for visiting our channel. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.